Hey, what's going on everybody? Michael here. Welcome back to another video. Today it looks like I'm going to be going back into the cellular world because today I am going to be talking about two services that I have had, and I was compelled to make this video by Sneed Mobile Tech. Again, Sneed, thank you for being a huge inspiration and a big source for me being on this platform. But today's video is going to be about Visible Plus and Verizon Wireless. Now, if you can't tell from the light design, I know it looks purple, but we got blue versus red. Not the Death Star blue, the Visible Plus blue. Now listen guys, this review is going to be very different from start to finish. I just want to say this, I respect the work of people like Stetson, Dennis, and Sherry from Whistle Out. I respect the work of all cellular YouTubers, and I never discredit anything that they do, nor do I ever like to make any insults or jabs because they are a lot smarter than me in many areas that I will never be. But this review is not gonna be like theirs, where their videos talk about a lot of the money pricing and, you know, cellular aspect of it and other things. I'm gonna do my review very separate, and even from Sneed and friends like Carlos. Instead, this video is going to be from a general consumer point of view. I am a college student, I work a very good job, at least I think so in my own regards. I pay my own bills, I pay for my own services, I pay for my own utilities, my car, charge, all that stuff. And cellular happens to fall under that wing. Now, I've had Verizon Wireless and Visible Plus, and after using both services, I have a very big opinion on both of them, where I think their strengths and weaknesses are, and I have an opinion on what I think would be the best if I had to recommend. But again, this is all opinion based. So let's start with the obvious: prepaid, postpaid. This is the biggest difference between the two of them, and also because Visible is a third-party MVNO, which essentially is a third-party carrier, but it works under the carrier umbrella. In this case, Visible Plus is provided by Verizon Wireless, as they own Visible, so they do have a few perks of owning the third-party MVNO while still maintaining that cheap price point and getting people into the Verizon network. One of the biggest, I would say anyway, one of the biggest positives out of the gate is the price. The price for Visible Plus right now is $45. However, they run a ton of promos, and right now they're currently having a promo where you can get the price locked in for 2 years at $35. And again, for the purposes of this video, we're gonna focus on the Visible Plus plan and compare it to the Unlimited Plus plan that I'm currently using right now. So, for starters, let's talk about it. So Visible Plus, the biggest thing that they give you is high value. For starters, you're getting 5G ultra wideband at its highest performance. It is not throttled or slowed down. That means you get the same priority as Verizon Wireless if you're using 5G ultra wideband on their network. So you're on the same level. You also get 50 gigabytes of premium data to use. So that means that you use the data that's premium, and that is what the priority will be. Now, for most general users, at least in my own testings, I've seen most users have used around 25 to 40 gigabytes of premium data. Now, the opposite with Verizon Wireless is that it is unthrottled. That means you can use as much data as you want and it will never slow down. But most people don't even know, and most people don't even care about that much kind of data. The other benefits of also Visible Plus is that they include a smartwatch line. So you can use your number with the smartwatch. You can also access unlimited talk, text. So those are some perks as well. On top of that, they also give you a complimentary day of international pass that you can use whenever you're traveling across the board, but it's a complimentary pass only. And then of course they have mobile hotspot. Now, a lot of people in the cellular world love to use mobile hotspot, and Visible Plus recently upped the performance of their hotspot speeds. But the thing is that while it is unlimited, it does eat away at your premium data usage, and then eventually once it eats out that data, it then gets you the unthrottled and basically throttles the speed and gives you on a deprioritized access on the network. I'm just laying out the groundwork just so you guys can understand the Visible, and then we get to Verizon. Now, Verizon, on the other hand, for their Unlimited Plus plan, you do get unlimited talk, text, data, you get unlimited 5G Ultra Wideband, again, not slowed down, but you don't get that free smartwatch line. You do get hotspot, but at 30 gigabytes, and again, once that slows down, you use up 30, it gets slow, but ultimately, the Verizon wireless plan, the biggest perk of that is that it is the first party. You're dealing through Verizon. But now we got a lot of these little fancy stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the day-to-day use. Now, when I used Visible Plus, I was thoroughly impressed with the performance, starting with my trip to Arizona. When I went to Arizona, I was using both T-Mobile and Visible Plus, and I ended up using Visible Plus more than the T-Mobile network, and I was thoroughly impressed with the performance. Now, being that I do have a techie side, I did a lot of speed testing because 5G Ultra Wideband was a hotspot in Phoenix, and it was everywhere. And in the area, the venue where I went for this event, it not only did such a phenomenal job of keeping up with the performance of all users that were using Verizon Wireless, AT&T, and T-Mobile, but the performance never once throttled. That 5G Ultra Wideband speed was almost pushing 3 gigabytes of download, and an upload was like 100 megabytes. So just from a performance perspective, I was noticing the same performance from Visible Plus that I'm noticing now on Verizon Wireless. And mind you, we've had Verizon Wireless years prior to Visible Plus. The other thing that I really was impressed with Visible Plus was the smartwatch accessory add-on. That was a nice perk that they threw in that I felt I wish Verizon would do the same, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't necessarily need to use my smartwatch as an extension of my phone. My phone is always there, and even if I don't use my phone and I'm using my smartwatch, I'm never just gonna leave my house without my phone. So for me, I would have wished that that is something that Verizon did, but I'm glad that Visible did it as well. Now, on the flip side, however, there are some things I wanna talk about with Verizon. One of the cool things that I think Verizon does best is not only is their performance slightly a little better, but I also noticed they give you better access to the Verizon network in comparison to Visible Plus. Now, Visible Plus did cover 5G, but there were certain spots that Verizon was covering slightly better than Visible was in certain areas where I lived. But to be fair, this was an issue that I did run in with Mobile X, and Peter Adderton, the CEO, did address that they are working to improve their network coverage and that this was going to be something that they were going to work on over time. So I know that this is something that Visible is also actively working on as well. But ultimately, what it comes down to is really what you're paying for. And listen, I know it's very, very easy to say, go with Visible Plus over Verizon. But here's the thing, Verizon has an established name and an established brand. They also do give you some incentives for joining that does actually save you some money. Like their streaming discounts, you also get the Verizon ticket promos where you can get tickets to Verizon things, you know. Obviously, these are just little incentive pots for paying all that money, but ultimately you're getting a reliable network with no issues, and you're gonna get first priority from start to finish. And let's just say hypothetically, you do use up all the data from the 50 gigabytes priority on Visible Plus, and you do exceed more and more. You don't want to have your experience throttled or be downgraded to undeprioritized network. So it does make sense for a lot of people to want to go to Verizon. And honestly speaking, using Verizon Wireless is reliable. I've seen it be very reliable even on LTE. And for me, I think that if you're okay paying that kind of money because you know what you're getting, you can go the Verizon Wireless route. But if you had to ask me, what mobile network do I recommend? Well, here is my honest opinion. I think if you are a single user, that means you have no family plans, you have no spouse, no kids, nobody. If you're spending your money and you are going out and using the service, I would recommend Visible Plus to you because of 3 reasons. Number 1, you're getting some very good value for the starting price for Visible Plus. Number 2, they do have some nice promos and discounts on their trade-in store, and they're actively working to continue that, so you do get some incentives for using their shop to buy smartphones, and it's something that can grow over time just like they do with Verizon. And number 3, most importantly, you're gonna get the same performance from start to finish. However, if money is not a factor to you, then obviously go the Verizon route. But if you're a single user and you are somebody that really wants to just get the power of Verizon without having to break the bank, then take a look at Visible Plus, because I guarantee you, you will have a great experience with Visible Plus. And as for the standard Visible plan, we'll talk about that one next time. But also remember, there are things that Visible can do to improve. I think that they should start bringing in family plan options. They should allow for 2 or more people on a line with a discount. I do think that they have room for growth, and I think that eventually over time, they are gonna get there. But as of right now, for $35 to $45 for Visible Plus, it's a no-brainer. I obviously am gonna recommend it, but I'm also gonna recommend Verizon as well, because if money's not a factor for you and you want that performance, you can always go to Verizon. But all in all, you gotta think with your money, think with your head, and think of the value. And in the end, I think Visible Plus ekes it out, and either way, you're gonna have a great experience with the Verizon network.